All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, the moment you all have been waiting for, the last video of our series on business management and entrepreneurship. All right, so make sure you have a chance to watch the other videos associated with this series because we cover the base introduction, we cover business information management, we cover human resource management, operations management, and accounting and finance, right? And again, this is within the scope of or the lens of thinking about being an entrepreneur. However, we did dive into some of the more advanced concepts for those that thought, hey, maybe I don't want to be an entrepreneur, but these areas sound interesting. Now, we are going to talk about administrative support today, and this does venture a little off from our traditional entrepreneur routes, okay? However, in certain businesses, it's good for entrepreneurs to know what administrative support is, okay? So we'll kind of talk about that here. All right, so let's dive right into it. All right, so there's a lot of confusion, okay, about administration, right? I can remember talking with a gentleman, right? And we were talking about what we were studying and what I was studying, what have you. And I told him I was studying music business and how I was studying copyright law and publishing and how artists are paid. And he worked in the live music side of things, right? Which was awesome. He worked a lot of live music and a lot of live music shows. I'm talking like the big shows, right? And he said, oh, you work in administration or you're studying administration. No, it's not really administration. So his concept was, okay, in schools, the people that run the schools are administrators, okay? And the people that help the artists, right, have their careers and take advantage of things, they must also be administrators, okay? And that concept was slightly incorrect. So let's look at some definitions here, okay? And let's look at what administration might be. All right, let's look what it says here. I'm just going to read it verbatim here. Workers who plan, manage, provide direction, and perform activities that relate to running and assisting an educational organization, a civil organization, a correctional institution, or even a business organization. Here's the thing. If a business chooses to call the people that run the business the administration and administrators, that's fine. Whatever the business wants to do. Then an entrepreneur can say, yes, our managers are administrators. That's fine if you choose to do that. Nothing wrong with that, okay? All right, so as far as the rest of things, right, that might include things like school staff, okay, not necessarily like Mr. C, right? I'm not really administrator, but the people that help run the school, like at the front office and so on and so forth here at the middle school. You got school administrators like the principal, the assistant principals, and the individual managers and supervisors. You've got the school board, the group of people that make the decisions on behalf of the schools. And of course, it might be the people working at the school head office, okay? Now, it's not limited to just schools because you got universities, colleges, museums, right? And you've got other government organizations like police departments, fire departments, right? They all have people who help run those civil institutions, okay? The police chief would be an administrator, okay? The fire chief would be an administrator. The fire sergeant would be an administrator, that kind of thing, all right? It might be a team of managers or a team of overseers, right? There might be administrative assistants. Now, here's a confusing thing, right? Here's a confusing thing. I worked at a bank once, and in the bank, there was a specific wing, and it was the executive wing. And there were a few people that ran the bank, right? There was the president of the bank, okay? The CEO of the bank, all right? And there was like the CFO of the bank, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Executive Officer, and the president, because their organization had created that style of people and managers and executive force. Now, each administrator there, okay, each one of those three people, okay, had administrative assistants. In other words, they had a secretary or somebody who worked like a secretary underneath them, right, to help them perform their tasks. Because, sometimes things need file or things need to be written or schedules need to be made, so on and so forth. So the assistants help them in their jobs and in their higher capacities, right? And sometimes you can be so busy as an entrepreneur that you might need help scheduling and confirming and making trips and plans and so on and so forth, right? Somebody to act on your behalf and your business's behalf to help the business function, right? Now, it might be a team of marketers. What's marketing? We're going to get into that here later on throughout the year. It might be a team of researchers or people who are promoting or selling the business, right? Or selling on behalf of the business. Administrative support might act as liaisons between the general staff and executive staff. Sounds a lot like human resources, okay? They may provide assistance in planning, developing, budgeting, finance, record keeping, and or marketing. So all those individual functions that we've been talking about for the last several units, right? Administrators might oversee, okay? Again, it really depends on the business. Now, there is somebody in the school system that's in charge of budgeting. There is somebody in the school system who's in charge of human resources, and somebody's in charge of business information management, okay, within the school system, right? Any organization in the government is going to have somebody overseeing that, right? Whether that's the state of Florida, the federal departments of stuff, right? In Washington, D.C., those kinds of things, right? Government institutions might have administrators and administration, all right? Now, there might be some additional jobs that might be both administrative and government related and in the private business world. So this is really where we're going to tie in here, right? So let's take a look at a couple of these things, right? We've got a collector, right? What a collector does is they work for the accounting department, okay? And they collect money and payments, right? And overdue bills when it's owed to the business or the organization, okay? So they make the collection call. So that would be under accounting with accounts receivable. They're waiting to receive those funds, right? And if somebody's not paying the funds, hey, we need to get paid. The money's owed to us, right? So you might have a collector. That's one of the reasons why there is a tax collector, a person collecting all the taxes, okay? And for government organizations, okay? There might be a bookkeeper, somebody who takes care of the visual statements, right? In the accounting world, that could be producing financial statements and records for the organization and updating those records, but it could be just general book records or bookkeeping, right? Such as making sure that things are filed away properly, right? You've got customer service. Okay, think about customer service, right? That's one of my big things about customer service. You go to Walmart and suddenly there's an area called customer service, right? As if customer service doesn't exist throughout the store. They do the same thing at Walmart and Best Buy or guest services or what have you, right? Anywho, customer service is going to be an area of dealing with marketing and sales, right? They process order, provide information, handle customer complaints, or even just help customers provide direction, right? You've got financial clerks, right? Helping keep records, helping customers and clients carry out financial transactions and making the transactions happen, right? You got office clerks, right? They might just be answering the phone and taking care of simple paperwork, right? And notice it says C, administrative assistant. Not all administrative assistants are office clerks, and not all office clerks are secretaries, but secretaries might be office clerks. Again, it depends on the business. Each business is different. All right, let's see here. Next slide. We got information clerks and material recording clerks. You can read those definitions here. There's no need to go on to every single one of them, right? But yeah, civil dispatchers, right? That's a big one, okay? There needs to be like a 911 operator to send the police officers where they need to go, or emergency crews, or providing information to for public communications, okay? Not emergency services, that kind of thing. Postal service. Yeah, we need our mail delivered, right? So you might have postal service worker, right? Somebody who is providing parcels to people and making sure that inter-department mail and outer-department mail, in other words, mail going in between the organization or mail going out of the organization is being sent where it needs to, right? You've got secretary and administrative assistants. Now, there is a difference, but there might not be a difference. We talked a little bit about administrative assistants and how they operate on behalf of either the business or the executive in charge, okay? But you might have a secretary as well. Again, each job is different, okay? I can't emphasize that enough, all right? Each job is different. You got tellers, right? Hey, how are you going to pay your taxes? You just go to the teller, you pay your taxes, they give you the receipt, and boom, your taxes are paid. It's established on your account, it's taken care of, right? So you got tellers. So they usually work in the accounting area. So you can kind of see here with these two slides, the previous slide and the current slide, there's a lot of crossover in administration, administrative support, and things helping or jobs that help the organization run. All right. So what does it take to work in administration or administrative support? Well, this is focusing on schools. So this slide focuses just on like schools and what have you, but you might have like crossing guards and dining room and cafeteria attendants, right? You can do that with a simple high school diploma. You could be a janitor, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Those are great careers, right? Now, with a little bit of extra certification, you might have institution and cafeteria cooks, excuse me. Going too fast, speaking over my words here. You got secretaries and administrative assistants. Some businesses will not hire an administrative assistant unless they have a full bachelor's degree. Each business is different, okay? They can set their own rules. You've got executive secretaries and interpreters and translators. And then with an advanced degree, like a master's degree, you've got college education administrators and distance learning administrators and what have you. Mr. C's working on his advanced degree right now. So eventually my hope is to be an administrator myself one day, right? So those things are the things that are required as far as the education is concerned, okay? That brings us to the end of this brief lesson. Looky here. We did that in under 12 minutes. How cool is that? All right, so go ahead and answer these questions, and if you're in class, we'll go over them, and if you're not in class, well, hopefully you got the answers right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it, and tune in for the next unit.